भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Dear devotees, you are all welcome for a continuity of our Bhakti Vaibhav study of 5th canto Srimada Bhagvatam. The section we are discussing is a teaching of Lord Rishabdev, the incarnation of God, to his 100 sons at the place called Brahmavarta, which is the center of the earth, of this planet. And he is teaching all his 100 sons, but he is actually focusing on Maharaj Bharat, who is going to be the ruler of this Bharat Varsha, which we will discuss in the upcoming chapters when we discuss Jambu Deep, the Jambu Island and its 9 tract of land. Among them, Bharat Varsha is the one most important tract of land. And it was ruled by Maharaj Bharat, therefore it's called Bharat Varsha. And also in this section we are coming across the transcendental qualities of Lord Rishabdev. His very extraordinary qualities. So this section, which now we are discussing from verse number 30 to 35, last section, this is as we have seen already, this is called this section is called Lord Rishabdev's renunciation as an adhbhut. And yesterday we discussed what is adhbhut and who is adhbhut. So now this particular verse described about the traveling of Rishabdev in different tract of lands. So Rishabdev traveling. So Rishabdev began to tour through cities, villages, mines, countryside, valleys, gardens, military camps, cow pen, the homes of coward men, transient hotels, hill, forest and hermitages. Where he traveled, all bad elements surrounded him, just as flies surround the body of an elephant coming from a forest. He was always being threatened, beaten, urinated upon and spat upon. Sometimes people threw stones, stool and dust at him, and sometimes people passed foul air before him. Thus, people called him many bad names and gave him a great deal of trouble. But he did not care about this, for he understood that the body is simply meant for such an end. He was situated on the spiritual platform, and being in his spiritual glory, he did not care for all these material insults. In other words, he completely understood that matter and spirit are separate, and he had no bodily conception. Thus, without being angry at anyone, he walked through the whole world alone. So Chakravarti Pad gives a little meaning of the words in the Sanskrit. Srila Prabhupada's purport first. Narottam Das Thakur says, Deh samarti nahi yara sansara bandhan kahan tar. When a person fully realizes that the material body and the world are temporary, he is not concerned with pain and pleasure of the body. As Sri Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita, Matra Sprashasta Konta Situshana Sukha Agma Payanva Nityastans Tetiksha Bharata. So one has to tolerate as long as we have this body, and these happiness and suffering coming in this body are like the seasonal changes. It means this pertains to the body. So they are coming and going. As far as Rishabdev is concerned, it has already been explained, Idam Sariram Mama Durvibhavyam. It means it's very difficult to understand my transcendental body. He did not at all possess a material body because his body was all spiritual. And therefore he was tolerant of all troubles offered to him by the bad elements in the society. Consequently, he could tolerate people throwing stool dust upon him and beated him. His body was transcendental and consequently did not at all suffer pain. He was always situated in his spiritual bliss. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1861, Ishwar Sarvabhautanam Hirdeshwarjan Tishtati Brahmyam Sarvabhautani Yantarudhani Maya. Now Prabhupada is really giving a very interesting purport. Since the Lord is situated in the everyone's heart, he is in the heart of hog and dog also. So if a hog and dog in their material body live in filthy places, one should not think that Supreme Personal Godhead in his Paramatma feature also live in a filthy place. Similarly, although Lord Rishabdev was maltreated by the bad elements of the world, he was not at all affected. Therefore it is stated here, Swamahima avasthitena. He was situated in his own glory. He was never saddened due to being insulted in many ways described above. Now Chakravarti Rai gives the meaning of the different words. Pura means city, Gram means a town without market. Akar means a mine, and Khet means farm community, and Kharvat means a village on the mountain slope. And Vat is a flower garden, and Shivaram is a military encampment. Vraj is a place for cows. Ghosh is a cowherd village. And Sarth is a gathering place of travelers. Ashram is a village of sages. The lowest of the men scolded him to create fear him, beat him, urinated on him, and spit phalgam on him. They threw stone, stool, dust on him and passed foul air on him. Humiliated in this way, he tolerated it all because he did not identify with the body, which is temporary situation, asat sansthane, though it is called real. This is Sridhar Swami's explanation. But Jiva Goswami says that this statement is made only to give instruction to the common people. It means he was acting like that simply to tell to the people, common people, that this suffering in the material world is natural and one has to learn to tolerate. Now there is another point of view which Chakravarti is giving us. The word etasmin should not therefore indicate his body, but the universe. Since his body is spiritual, because the universe is temporary, it is called asat sangsthane. As a unit, it is designated as a body of the Lord. Deha upalakshane. Upalakshane means it is compared to. So there is a universal form which is temporary. He did not identify with that body composed of the universe. If he were to identify with that body which is universe composed of those who insulted him, he would lament thinking, my body composed of universe is contaminated by this great offense. He did not identify that body, since he was situated in his own glory, his body of knowledge and bliss, with realization of his Chitta Shakti. belonging to his Swarup, and his Maya Shakti which was not his Swarup. So, any discussion or comment on this verse 30?
Hare Krishna, I have one question.
Yes.
In the 11th canto, there is a story of Avanti Brahmana.
Yes.
And Avanti, it is very similar what happened to Avanti Brahmana when he became a traveling monk.
Right.
And so he was suffering all these inconveniences. And then it is explained in that story that his suffering was actually coming from, the remnants of his previous karma.
Okay.
So he understood it in that way. So my question is, why was this happening to Lord Rishabhadeva? Because he's completely pure.
The Avantika Brahman's story is given to the sannyasis really, that when they travel they can be mistreated by people and they should tolerate it as their karma, or it is all the mental, at a mental platform, it's not at all. So here Rishabhadeva is mistreated like that because he was acting as a adhbhut. Even when Sukadeva Goswami was coming to the assembly of the saintly people surrounding Parikshat, even the young girls and boys were also making fun of him and doing same thing. So these are the people, they are not recognized by the people generally. So they think they are mad people. And they want to act like that simply to avoid being disturbed by the people. Like I think next some other verse we can discuss, like our Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj used to do his bhajan near to the public lavatories because nobody should come and disturb him. So sometimes they act in such a way that they should not be, disturbed in their own, because the next verse will say, because people are disturbing his yoga system, therefore he lived like a python. So there are two things we can see, because he was acting as the adhbhut, people could not recognize him, and number two, because such people, they want to hide themselves from the general public, their inner identity. So people should think, okay, he is of no use, and therefore they are in their own identity, like Jad Bharat. Jad Bharat is also living like that. Though he was a highly learned, only he spoke something to Maharaj Raugan. Not before that he spoke his mouth. He never opened his mouth. Jad Bharat, his story will come, I think. It will come in the upcoming chapters. So I think there are two things we can think. Anybody else want to add to this discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. But this is not a recommended behavior for any normal renunciate even, right? Because with the story of the Avanti Brahmana is different, because there it is like related to the renunciate, it's like you said. But what is behavior of Rishabhadeva related to, except that he is just this, like, to use a term, like to be a social misfit, so that everyone is deriding you. But it is not recommended for any kind of ashram for any of us, right?
Because it is adhbhut. Adhbhut means he's indifferent to all the ashrams. Even Nityanand Prabhu was living like that sometime, and he was doing some all mischief at the Srivas Thakur's house like a child. I don't know why. Anybody else want to say something?
Hare Krishna. Excuse me, I also have a question to the other side of this story.
Yes.
Why people were behaving like that? Because it was quite ancient times and more pious times than now. It was not Kali Yuga. But people were behaving so viciously. Why it was so?
So, say bad elements, the word used in the verse is that bad elements were disturbing him. It means even when there is Satya Yuga, when it was a Satya Yuga, still there was a Hiranyakashipu and bad elements always tormenting the people. When Treta Yuga, even there was Ravana and other such people. So always there are two creation, as we see in Bhagavad Gita, Dev Asur Evacha. The demonic and the divine. These two type of creations are always on the planet. But in a better time, the demonic people are less, but the more Kali Yuga, the demonic mentality is more prevalent. But they are always there. And particularly there is a class of people always troubling the religious people. There is also a class of people there were hell's angel in America when the devotees were always harassed by those motorcyclists. It is always there is like that. So I think the most important lesson we should learn is that in this world always everybody is insulted somehow or other. And he should learn how to tolerate. So Prabhupada quoted this one verse from Bhagavad Gita, Tan Stitikshva Bharata, which is I think Prabhupada's more teaching towards us, that we should learn to tolerate, because and my generally my one positive aspect of understanding is this: when somebody really humiliate you or insult you, then you think of the Vidura who was insulted by Duryodhana, but that was a best that he become mendicant and he met Maitreya Rishi and his life was perfected. Dhruva Maharaj was insulted by his stepmother and he got the direct audience of the Supreme Lord and mercy of Narada. So sometimes this disgrace, if we take positively, to really bring us near to the God. So apaman means insult or disrespect. To a great people open a door towards Bhagavan. Apaman opens a door to the Bhagavan for a wise man. And Chakravarti Pad has written that like material, the universal form is a temporary. So our body is also temporary. So like Rishabdev is a personality of Godhead, he has his universal form, and all these bad elements are part of the universal form, because they are derivation of the universal form. Ultimately everything is coming from the God. So he was thinking, as I am different from my universal form, so why should I bother about these people who are acting badly, who are the byproduct of universal form? I am in my own glory, I am in my own Swarup Chit Shakti, and what they are doing, they are under the Maya Shakti. So now we are going to the next verse, which describes the transcendental beauty of Rishabdev. His bodily beautiful feature of a great personality. So this verse is speaking about the transcendental beauty of Rishabdev. Lord Rishabdev's hands, feet and chest were very strong. His shoulder, face and limbs were all very delicate and symmetrically proportioned. His mouth was beautifully decorated with his natural smile, and he appeared all the more lovely with his reddish eyes, spread wide like a petal of newly grown lotus flower, covered with dew in the early morning. His irises of his eyes were so pleasing that they removed all troubles of everyone who saw him. His forehead, ears, neck, nose and all his other features were very beautiful. His gentle smile always made his face beautiful, so much so that he even attracted the heart of married women. This word in Sanskrit this is the word in Sanskrit. Purvanitam. Purvanitam, the woman within the household life. Pur means household life and Vanitam means young woman. So I don't know how, there is a way to color it to show this. This is Purvanitam. This is the young girls of the young married woman. It was as though they had been pierced by arrows of Cupid. About his head was an abundance of curly matted brown hairs. His hairs were disheveled because his body was dirty and not taken care of. He appeared as if he was hunted by a ghost. The summary is Lord Rishabdev's beauty. Srila Prabhupada has 3 lines purport. Although Lord Rishabdev's body was very much neglected, his transcendental features were so attractive that even the married women were attracted to him. His beauty and dirtiness combined to make his beautiful body appear as though it were hunted by a ghost. So, any discussion on this verse? Say filthy thing. Say in a filthy place the diamond always shine. It is said generally, even in a very filthy place there's a diamond, it shine. So though he was cared for, but still his transcendental beauty was shining. So we have not to see the external, we have to see really the inner beauty of a person. But this is actually external beauty. All the description is of external beauty. Any question or comment on this verse, or we can go to the next verse?
Well, Prabhuji, just kind of just thinking that such a great personality, so attractive, but still nobody was with him.
Oh, that's a,
no sages, nobody taking care of him. He just was alone.
I think this is something. Adhbhut means he don't care for anybody. He had already made his teaching to his sons among all the great rishis, which showed his scholarship and his transcendental nature. Now then he wanted to enthrone his son as the emperor, and then he wanted to live like a mendicant. But then people were actually disturbing him, so he then took the form of a python, which the next verse will say. And then ultimately his behavior was so unnatural that the next chapter we will come across some king called Adhyan imitated his nature, and then the Jain Dharma started. The Jain sadhus, they imitated him. So there is some purpose behind all this. And what is that purpose? Let us go further and see if we can find some inner meaning into all these things.
Actually, it is mentioned also that Jain sadhus,
Yes.
also because of this reason that people mistreat.
Yeah.
They don't travel alone; they travel in groups.
Yeah.
Or other people walk along with them, so they don't get mistreated.
Yeah, but this is Supreme Lord. He did not care for anything, and nobody actually accompanied him. Even he had 100 sons, why they were not carrying him. There's another aspect to look at it.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
It's not that he disappeared, he left,
I
they
think,
couldn't find him, then okay, my father is gone.
I think at one place there is in purport there is one line, it says it was not for himself but he was teaching to the sannyasis, something like that. There's a one line somewhere like that down the line I have seen. So sannyasis like Prabhupada came all alone from say India to America at the advanced age without any help, and he depending upon Krishna. So he was teaching really how one can depend upon Krishna in all circumstances. Because the last verse today we will discuss that he's not different than Krishna. So he wasn't actually showing the transcendental bhava of devotion to Krishna. So there is something more that more we are dependent upon Krishna, the more we will realize Krishna. Because if we are both supported and assisted by other people, then we will not depend upon Krishna much.
Yeah.
So there are other angles also we can look at it. I think there are a few verses we can finish, then we can discuss more. The next verse says, Yanhai vavasa bhagavan lokam imam yogasya adha pratipam ivachakshantat parikriya karam bibhishtam iti vratam ajgaram. So because people were disturbing him in his practice of yoga sadhan, so he took the another now say behavior. And what behavior? Behavior of a python. So when Lord Rishabdev saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their proposition. So he was at one place, he was not going anywhere. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared the whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing element might not come and disturb him. Now, this summary says Ajagar Vritti. Ajagar Vritti means, and there is one nice purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada writes, according to one's destiny, one enjoy allotted happiness and distress, even though one keeps himself in one place. This Prabhupada used to call lazy intelligence. If you are intelligent, then you stay at one place, and if whatever happiness has to come, it will come. When one is spiritually situated, he may stay in one place, and all his necessity will be supplied by arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Now Prabhupada is giving another. This is when I was reading this purport, I think, why should I go anywhere from Vrindavan? Let me stay here and now. And actually, there's no problem. Everything Krishna will provide. I will not provide, but he can look after the comfort of his devotees. But this is the important line. Unless one is a preacher, there's no need to travel all over the world. So preachers are always required to travel. Not for anything. This is why everywhere, whenever we see the Navayogendra coming or Narad coming or some other person coming, Sukhdev coming, they are not coming for any material benefit. They are coming simply to enlighten the people. So preachers are going to, this is what Srila Prabhupada, when he was asked in America to wear the 3-piece and eat with the spoon and fork, he said, no, I have come here to give to these people. I have not come here to get education here or earn money here. I have to give them the happiness which they are missing. So they have to become like me. Why should I become like them? So preachers are there to give. They are not to get. Generally, the one person who gives more and accepts simply bare necessities is a sadhu. A person who gives as much as which he take back, that he is a businessman. A person who gives nothing but only give trouble to the world is a demon. So these are the 3 types of people on the planet. Generally sadhus, they give everything and they accept bare necessities of a life. And mostly people are businessmen. As much you give, you will get back. But there are people, they give least, but they give most trouble to the whole world. So Prabhupada is saying, preacher should go, otherwise he will get. He don't need to go anywhere. Prabhupada here in Vrindavan, once he was visiting his brahmachari ashram, and at that time Maharaj from Malaysia, he is no more with us now. He was telling that Prabhupada came to me, I was temple commander, he said, I would like really to live under a tree and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But what can I do? I have to run a big society and I have many disciples, so I have to build these all big buildings and everything just for people to attract them. But I am simply happy to live under the tree and chant Hare Krishna. So when they built a big palatial house, full floor for Prabhupada in Juhu, Bombay, they said, Prabhupada, this beautiful better floor is better than, say, Prime Minister, Chief Minister. He said, what I will do, I will take with me. You all have to, rest of the life take benefit of this place. So he was completely detached in that sense. So preachers should only travel with a compassion in heart to deliver the people message of Supreme Lord, not otherwise. A person can stay in one place and execute devotional service suitably according to time and circumstances. When Rishabdev saw that he was simply being disturbed by traveling throughout the world, he decided to lie down in one place like a python. Thus he ate, drank, and he passed his stool and urine and smeared his body with them so that people should not disturb him. Here I was thinking of our Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj living near the public toiletry to avoid the people disturbing him. He saw that the world was not favorable for his yoga because of disturbance caused by hunger, thirst, and people's outrage. The word eva, it appeared to be so, is used because nothing is unfavorable for an advanced yogi. It looks like nothing is unfavorable for an advanced yogi. The vow of python means to stay in one place and receive one's karma of this life. Since he would stay in one place, he would not become an outrage to people since he would be known. Rolling in the urinary stool, part of his body become covered with it. So next verse will say, connection with the previous verse, one may consider this disgusting, yet for the Lord it is transcendently blissful. So therefore this verse says, Tasya yaha purisha surabhi sugandhya. Surabhi means fragrant. So surabhi sugandhya. So his urine and his stool were so fragrant. Vayu tam desham, the air which was passing over that, yojanam, thus yojanam, 10 yojan, yojan means 8 miles in a yojan. Samantata saurabhim chakara. It was all fragrant around in that whole area. Because Lord Rishabdev remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him. But no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine, quite the contrary. Stool and urine was so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of countryside with a pleasant fragrance. So, aromatic stool and urine. Any other example? Not of stool and urine, but fragrance. Anywhere you have heard from a
Putana?
Yes. Putana, when was cremated by cremation of Putana arranged by Nanda Baba through the people living around, the fragrance was in 10 miles because Krishna touched that body. So although she was demoness. Even really transcendentally situated person. Recently, I met one, recently means couple of years back, I met a doctor. He used to visit a very great saintly people in Govardhan, very famous Bhagavata Acharya. I personally actually had a darshan of that. He was over 100 years at that time. So he said, though he was passing his stool, but it was never foul smelling. Though it was not fragrant, but it was not, something which is disturbing and troubling. So even the saintly people on the planet, for what about Supreme Lord? Srila Prabhupada, right? From this we can settle. There's a very wonderful line Prabhupada has given an insight in the purport. From this we can certainly assume that Lord Rishabdev was transcendently blissful. Stool and urine were so completely different from the material stool and urine, and that they were aromatic. Now Prabhupada is saying, what to speak of Supreme Lord Vrishabdev? Even in the material world, cow dung is accepted as purified and antiseptic. A person can keep stack of cow dung in one place and it will not create a bad aura or disturb anyone. Now this line is important. We can take it for granted that in the spiritual world, stool and urine are also pleasantly scented. Indeed, the entire atmosphere, because very pleasant due to Lord Rishabdev's stool and urine. Now, one may think that this condition is discussing for a spiritual body. This verse explains the air becomes fragrant with the smell of this stool. Verse 34. Evam go mrga kaka. Evam, in this way, go means cow, mrg means deer, kak means crow. Karayaha virajam tishtam asinasyana kaka mrga go charita pibati khadati avamehati sma. So again same words twice. In this way, Lord Rishabdev followed the behavior of cow, deer and crows. Sometimes he moved or walked, and sometimes he sat down in one place, sometimes he lay down, behaving exactly like cow, deer and crows. In that way he ate, drank, passed his stool, urine, and cheated the people in this way. While moving, standing, sitting, Srila Prabhupada's purport, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rishabdev possessed a transcendent spiritual body. Since the general public could not appreciate his behavior and mystic yoga practice, they began to disturb him. To cheat them, he behaved like crow, cow, and deer. And now Chakravarti Pad has a completely different angle of explanation. He displays this nature for the people who were equivalent to cow and other animals. It means those people who were disturbing him, they were like the animals. This Chakravarti Pad is a completely different explanation. Rishabdev displays this nature, means the nature of a python or living in a stool and urine, for people who are equivalent to crows and other animals, kak, mrga, go, charita. Evam gavadi charya panadi karoti sma tad evaha varjanam iti adina kak mrga gavam iva anyad api charitam vriti yasya. So this is our last verse for today. Iti nana yoga charya charano bhagavan kevalyapatihi rishabo avarattah param maha ananda anubhava atmani sarvesham bhutanam atmabhute bhagavati vasudeve atmano avyadhananantah rodraha bhavena siddha samasta artha paripurino yoga aishwaryani vaheyayasya mano javantadhanaha prakayah praveshadura grahanadini yadarichayo upagatani nanjasa nirpa hridyena abhyananta. So this verse says, Supreme Lord Rishabh, Bhagavan Rishabh, performing many type of yoga, nana yoga chare acharano, many type of yoga. The master who could award liberation, Kevalyapati, was always absorbed in the highest bliss, Avritta Param Maha Anand Anubhava. He was filled with perfection of all goals, Siddha Samasta Artha Paripurana. Through prem directly experienced within himself, which produced unlimited tears directed to himself, Atmano Avivadhan Anantarodra Bhavena, in the form of Vasudev, Bhagavati Vasudev, situated in all beings, Sarvesham Bhutanam Atmabhute, O King. Thus he did not welcome in his mind the mystic power Yoga Aishwaryani, such as flying in the sky, Vihayasya, moving at the speed of mind, Manojava, the ability to disappear, Antardhana, entering other bodies, Parakaya Pravesha, or seeing at great distance, Dura Grahana Adini, which suddenly Anjasa appeared of their own accord within him, Yadrichaya Upagatani. Srila Prabhupada writes, in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Shakali Ashanta. Why Prabhupada started this purport? What is in this verse? So Prabhupada started purport with Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Because the translation, this verse talks about the siddhis.
Yes,
Like,
because this verse discusses about the mystic powers. And yogis want the mystic powers. So because they want mystic power, it means they have some desire for that. But the devotee have no desire for that. So Prabhupada started like that. Right? So I think most of you know this verse, right? Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Sakalaya Shant, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shant. Everyone is trying to fulfill his aspiration and desires, be they material or spiritual. Say, why is the word spiritual here? For mukti, gyanis. Material for karmis, heaven. And spiritual for gyanis. Those in the material world are ashanta, without peace, because they have so many desires to fulfill. The pure devotee, however, is without desire. Anya bilashita shunyam. A pure devotee is completely free from all kinds of material desires. Karmi, on the other hand, are simply full of desires because they try to enjoy sense gratification. They are not peaceful in this life, nor the next, during the past, present, or future. Similarly, Gyana are always aspiring after liberation and trying to become one with Supreme. Yogis are aspiring after siddhis, power, anima, laghima, prapti, etc. However, a devotee is not at all interested in these things because he is fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is Yogeshwara, the possessor of all mystic powers, siddhis, and he is Atma Ram, fully satisfied. The yoga siddhis are described in this verse. One can fly in outer space without the aid of a machine, and he can travel at the speed of mind. This means that as soon as yogi desires to go somewhere within the universe or even beyond this universe, he can do so immediately. One cannot estimate the speed of mind, for within a second the mind can go millions of miles. Sometimes yogis enter into the bodies of other people and act as they desire when their bodies are not working properly. When they become old, a perfect yogi can find a young, able body, giving up his old body. The yogi can enter into the young body and act as he pleases. Being a plenary expansion of Vasudev, La Rishabdev possesses all these mystic yoga powers. But he was satisfied with the devotional love of Krishna, which was evinced by the ecstatic symptoms such as crying, laughing, and shivering. Chakravarti Pad writes, Kevalyapati means that he gave merging in Brahm to others out of his mercy. One should consider that these pastimes are meditation for teaching yogis. This is what one thing. One should consider that these pastimes are a meditation for teaching yogis. They are not to be imitated. Though Rishabh was the Supreme Lord, he developed prem for Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. Since Vasudeva is most worthy of worship among all the avatars, Bhisham says that Asya Anubhavam, Asya means Krishnasya. Anubhavam means realizations. Bhagavan Veda Goyatmam Shiva, the great mystic Lord Shiva. Devrishi Narada, Sakshat Bhagavan Kapilo Nirpa, Maharaj Parikshat, these three personalities. O King, Lord Shiva, Narad, sage of the heaven, and the King Kapila, who is directly, Lord Kapila, who is directly the Lord, knows the most secret anubhavas of Krishna, though not his intention. The concept of many supreme lords is rejected, and thus the word Atmani, self, is used in reference to Vasudeva. Rodra means giving tears. He was filled with prem, which produced unlimited tears, complete with all results directly manifested in himself, directed to Vasudeva, who is none different from himself, being his ansi. Ansi means he is the part of him. Vyasa means having ability to fly, and iskan. Manogya means moving at a speed of mind. So here actually ends our today's topic. This is a storyline in these verses. Rishabdev instructed his son. Although they were highly learned, to set an example for the public, he then enthroned birth and accepting only bodily maintenance, even while remaining at home and acting like a madman, he walked about Brahmavarth naked. So it's like first he was a sannyasi, which is at say Kutichak, living near the home. Then he become Parivarjik. So these are the different stage of sannyas. First he was living at home, then he was wandering around. Accepting the dress of an adhbhut, he acted like a dull, blind, deaf and mute person. When addressed by people, he remained silent, since he had taken a vow of silence. He wandered the earth alone, remaining indifferent to insults, scolding and beating of the low-class people who treated him in a disgusting way. He was not afflicted, since he did not identify with me or mine, and was situated in his spiritual body. Though he had a very beautiful body, because it was neglected and covered with dirt, it appeared to be haunted. When he saw that the world was unfavorable for his practice of yoga, he took the vow of Python and remained in one place, sleeping, eating and drinking. So he thus acted like an animal to bewilder animalistic people. He was always absorbed in the highest bliss of prem towards Vasudeva. Thus, he did not welcome the 8 siddhis, which suddenly appeared of their own accord within him. So here actually this one chapter is over. Now we have go to the chapter 6. Maybe no, tomorrow, definitely not maybe tomorrow. So this is what about the whole chapter. Now the forum is open for discussion. Today we have finished so quickly. I don't know. This is what I thought I can finish it yesterday. Now we are.
Prabhuji, just
Okay.
Yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just a thought, Prabhu. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, like Mata Sapashtu Konte Asitoshna Sukadukta. Like Krishna mentions like one should be titikshva, or like, should not be, should accept the happiness in distress.
Mm-hmm.
So, this whole pastime of Lord Rishabdev, because he is Krishna himself, is very portion of Krishna. Because he is also sanctioning those people, they are throwing the stool and things like that on him. So he is sanctioning because he is sitting in the heart of those people as well. So he made such a pastime so that he can be glorified as a adhbhutta, he can be glorified as a titikshva, because he tolerated. Because Lord has all the features in unlimited quantity. So Lord also personally showed that he can tolerate any disrespect, any form of disrespect. That's why he even tolerated people throwing the stool even towards him. So just a thought.
Good. So, what you are saying is those who were throwing a stone on him, it was also inspired by Paramatma, which he himself is sitting in their heart. And he was teaching others that, yes, this is the way how to tolerate in this material world. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. May I ask something?
Yeah, please.
His Lord Rishabdev here is, he appeared as a devotee king to teach the Paramahansas, behavior of Paramahansas. But now, is that an eternal form in king in the spiritual world? Because he's a Leela avatar here, right?
Not Leela avatar. Leela avatar, he's an empowered incarnation, maybe. I think we have to look into the list of the incarnation. He's not like a full-fledged having his planet or something. We have to see the different categories of incarnation. Leela avatar, they have a pastimes, and they have, I think, their own abode in the spiritual world. But there are some incarnations which are only for a certain period and for certain purpose. They are also empowered or even temporary incarnation, but they don't have their abode in the spiritual world. So what is the position of Rishabdev? Can somebody do the search for that?
In Lagu Bhagavatam, it said Leela avatar, and also Lord Brahma mentioned in the second canto that the Supreme Lord will appear and teach Jara Yoga will appear as the son of Nabi and Mevu Devi. And then, so it's that's what my confusion is. If he is a Leela avatar, as it's mentioned in Lagu Bhagavatam, then does he have a permanent sort of identity in the spiritual world as Lord Rishabdev, as a devotee king teaching Paramahansas in material world? So
I'm just looking for that verse which in a second canto speak about the
2710.
2710, okay, 2710. This is 2710.
I haven't read it again, but I just.
In ISKCON Desiratory, they list Rishabh as a Leela avatar also.
Okay, Leela avatar. So now we have to think what is Leela avatar. So I should share this. Oh. This is one. Where's the other one? Okay, this is already closed. So if Rishabdev is a Leela avatar. So now what is the point now we should discuss?
Does he have a permanent sort of form in the spiritual world? Or are there some incarnations who just for the material world? Because if you go by the definition of avatar in Bhagavad Gita, in the purport of 4748, Prabhupada says that it is a permanent and avatar means they come down, so they are there.
Yeah,
So
avatar.
some of these avatars very difficult to reconcile. So I'm just asking the question. You can enlighten me.
Drug jad yoga charyam yat paramhansyam rishyah padam atmananti swastah prashantah karanah parimukha sangah. The Lord appeared as son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and was known as Rishabh Dev. He performed mystic yogas to balance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfection situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely self-satisfied. Chakravarti writes, this verse describes Rishabh Dev. He appeared as the son of the. He practiced yoga as if he was in Jad. The sages practiced the characteristic of his renunciation. What type of person was he? He was situated in himself. One may object that after renouncing everything, he again attained worldly connection by gaining worshippers. He gave up completely the association of those sages who followed his renunciation. He had no affection for them, thinking that they did not understand his type of renunciation. Thus they become dried up. One should see the story in 5th canto for details. Okay, this is something about the Jainis. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. Prabhupada is writing about the Jain here in the purport. Mashas are known as Meru Devi, although her name is mentioned Sudevi. It's sometimes proposed as Sudevi, mother and wife of King Nabhi. But since King Rishabh was mentioned, it is. Okay, I don't think in this verse there is something like that. So, does Rishabh Dev has a planet in the spiritual world? This is the question, right?
Yeah.
Anybody has anything to add? Laghu Bhagavatam says this is the Leela avatar, okay?
Yes,
Leela,
that's it.
Leela means pastime. Yeah, Leela means pastime. So,
Also in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13, when the list of incarnations given, schedule of incarnations, the Krishna is the source of all incarnations, 1.13. Also it's mentioned the 8th incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabhi, and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation of Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses or honored by all orders of life. Then Prabhupada talks about 4 types of sannyas, which Chakravarti in the purport, but
yeah, this is what I saw. The 4 type of sannyasis discuss something, this type of yoga. Yeah, that is there. But I don't know exactly whether he has his own planet in the spiritual world. I think we should do a little more research on this topic, which of the incarnations have their spiritual planet and which are simply for some time coming and executing some special purpose.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was asking because this has been on my mind for a while, so thank you.
I think we should do research whether there is or not.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We have one question. How we can explain the philosophical basis of Rishabh Dev's exhibition of tolerance?
The philosophical, this is a matra sprashastu konte. Because philosophical means you have to quote some shastra. So Prabhupada has already quoted some shastra, matra sprashastu konte sitashura sukudukuda agma payano anitya stantitiksho bharata. So this is the way, the advice that the disturbance will come like the change of seasons. And so everybody, tolerate the seasons. So we should tolerate also the disturbances. I think philosophical is this.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Anybody else to say something?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes.
Rishabdev starts this chapter by telling that human life is not meant for sense gratification, and then in coming, then up to 8th verse, he says that attraction between male and female creates a double knot, and he condemns this process. But what is the process to overcome this? That is, I am not clear on that. Can you please tell?
I think that, there was a one verse after that, how to overcome this. So one has to go to 3 stages. I think 3 stages were there in one verse we have discussed that.
In 9th verse, it was given strong
Yes.
knot of heart due to karma is slackened.
By what? Number 3, there are 3 things there. What are the 3 things? 3 step 1, 2, 3.
It was this verse says how does liberation take place, and first one is the strong knot of the heart due to karma is slackened. Then second is one give up the basic principle of illusion, and third is liberation and entrance into the transcendental world.
Yeah, so first is the knot is slackened. How? By what method? What is the procedure for the heart to slacken? Is there something association of devotees somewhere and hearing Krishna Katha?
Then 25 process were given
Huh?
for meditation.
It says sadhu sangha gives gyana, and gyana leads to vairagya. Then the heart, not in the heart.
Yeah, that's it.
is
That's what I'm
loosened.
saying. This is a process. Process is sadhu sangha, and by sadhu sangha we get the knowledge, and by knowledge our attachment will decrease, and then we will be on the path of liberation. Yeah, this is the process is there.
Okay. I missed this.
Hare Krishna.
And one more thing, Prabhuji, in Bhagavatam, everywhere it is mentioned of sadhu sangha and associating with devotees. But sometimes we become too much familiar with devotees and start finding faults.
So Prabhupada says familiarity breeds contempt. That is there. But what is the definition of sadhu sangha? What is your understanding of sadhu sangha?
Associating, hearing Krishna Katha from them.
Yeah, sadhu sangha means hearing Krishna Katha from a self-realized soul. It's not that going to the restaurant and eating together with the devotees is sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha means discussing Krishna Katha with self-realized or at least advanced devotees. And you are right. If we are too familiar with the devotees, then we may commit some aparadha. Therefore, it is always advisable that we should simply hear them and not actually comment on their other life, part of their life, because we don't know what they are doing and why they are doing.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
usually we compare with ourselves to other people, and then we make mistakes because we compare other people with ourselves. I'm doing like that, why he's not doing like that. So I think, and neither we should imitate them, simply we should listen to them, and we should more inquire from them what is beneficial for us. Sadhu Sangha is basically, and which is Sadhu Sangha is better, I think in Nectar of Instruction we know all the Vaishnavas are respected, but association of the elevated Vaishnava will benefit actually. But basically Sadhu Sangha is like our all 6 Goswami living in Vrindavan and every day discussing Krishna Katha. That is Sadhu Sangha. The best way of Sadhu Sangha is this: what we are doing is a discussion about Krishna consciousness or subject matter of Bhagavatam. That is Sadhu Sangha. This is Sadhu Sangha where we discuss the essence of shastra and reach to the positive conclusion how we can advance in spiritual life. That is Sadhu Sangha. So such type of meetings in which we discuss shastra is a sadhu sangha.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes?
May I ask a question?
Golokeshwari.
Like we hear Krishna Katha, but when it comes to practical application, there are so many things where we stuck. So we need further guidance also, like how to deal those situations and how to practically apply. So, Prabhuji, can you guide, like just by hearing, like we are doing these classes, we go to temple and hear, and we hear on YouTube. Is this will work, or do we need
No. You need personal guide. We need definitely personal guide. And practically speaking, generally spiritual master is a personal guide, but in our society as a big preaching organization, it's not easily available for all people to associate with the initiating a spiritual master. Therefore, at least apart from or along with spiritual master, you must have some senior Vaishnava in the community with whom you can open your heart and get guidance, and he is not going to exploit you or belittle your questions or something, and he should be there with a compassion to help you. Everybody must have at least one person in their life for regular guidance, because personal guidance is most important. Only reading, writing, discussing will not work like that, definitely.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in your last answer to Prabhu, you said that how to take association of devotees. You mentioned a very interesting point. You said that you need to hear from a set devotee, and then you mentioned that at least you should listen from an advanced devotee. So how do we understand who is self-realized and who is advanced devotee? Like, what could be the difference among these two?
I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked the same question 3 times. Who is a Vaishnava? Then first time he said, once who chant Hare Krishna is a Vaishnava. That is a first class. This is called a Kanishta Vaishnava. The next time same question was asked, who is a Vaishnava? He said, always chanting Hare Krishna, Nirantar Jare Mukhe Krishna Nam, he is a Vaishnava. And third time he asked, what is a Vaishnava? Then he said, same question. He said, by seeing him, somebody chant Hare Krishna, that Vaishnava is the topmost. So he said, there's a Kanishta, Madhyam and Adhikari Vaishnava. So in our society, at least Prabhupada said, we should approach Madhyam Adhikari at least, who knows how to behave with the devotees. And he has a better understanding of the shastra. Because the criteria of the Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam is based on the faith in the scripture. Faith in the scripture is the criteria. Shraddha Anuswari. Shastra Shraddha Anuswari. Plial faith, Kanishta. Better, good faith, Madhyam. And perfect faith, Uttam. So basically speaking, the Madhyam is at least has a 4 characteristics we know. He has a genuine love for God, Krishna. Number 2, he respects the senior Vaishnavas, make friendship with the equal, is compassionate to the new devotees, and is indifferent to the non-devotees. So definitely there are Madhyam in the society which can help us, but Kanishta will not much help. It's good, but it's not very good.
So Uttamadhikari can be accepted as a self-realized soul?
Yeah, Uttamadhikari is basically at the stage of bhav. The criteria of these is based on the Shraddha to Prem. All these divisions are from Shraddha to Prem, and generally up till Nishtha, the below Nishtha is Kanishta, from Nishtha to Asakti is Madhyam, and Bhav and Prem is Uttam.
Thank you for it. Thank you.
But really speaking, it's very difficult to find out the bhav, bhakti, devotee in a bhav and uttam. Whatever is available with us, we have to work with that.
Because we have devotees, even if they have a bhav, they are not going to show the symptoms of.
Finished.
Recording in progress.
Is in Nectar of Instruction, right? Text 5 in Nectar of Instruction.
What's going on? My light turned off somehow, so I was disconnected. So what's going on?
We were just discussing a little bit more about
Rishabdev. Or?
you on the meaning of Madhyamadikari, is that right, Prabhu?
Yeah, Madhyam is
Yes.
four things. Madhyam is the four things. Loves God, having friendship with equal, merciful to the neophyte, and indifferent to the good, and arguing and associating with devotees. I think itself is a very big topic. Associating with devotees, how it helps us.
Prabhuji, maybe you can give one seminar on this.
Sadhu Sangha, we have to really see the example where Prabhupada gave simply one example of Sadhu Sangha is a miracle. He said Sadhu Sangha is a miracle, and then he gave the example of child Narad in his previous birth having association of the Chaturmas in a 4 month with the Bhakti Vedanta, and his life was transformed. So this is a miracle of Sadhu Sangha. Prabhupada said this is the actually some miracle of Sadhu Sangha, that how the uneducated 5-year child was transformed simply by mercy of the those Bhakti Vedants. So that is Prabhupada is discussed. This is actually Sadhu Sangha. And for us, Prabhupada's association and so many people from Western world has transformed as Vaishnava, that is actually transcendental of a Sadhu Sangha. Association means speaking Krishna. Ultimately, he was hearing Krishna Katha from them. They were discussing and he's simply hearing. But definitely discussion like this, which we are doing in this Bhakti, Vaibhav and Adhya, whatever, this is also a Sadhu Sangha. It may not be of the Goswami stage, but this is also Sadhu Sangha at our own level. But Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada writes that actually this the goal of life is having a Krishna prem, like the prem of a gopis for Radharani, and for that we have to follow the Goswamis of Vrindavan. So in the introduction, Prabhupada writes like that. Ultimately, we have to have agreed to have association of such advanced devotees who has developed love of God. Lagu Bhagavatam Sajja. Rishabdev. We are just looking at Lagu Bhagavatam about the Rishabdev's identity. I think maybe somebody should more do a research work tomorrow about the Rishabdev's identity in the spiritual world, if there is. And I think different categories of incarnations, there is a little variation. Chaitanya Charitamrita has some description, and Lagu Bhagavatam has some description. There may be little differences sometimes. Like here we have seen the two places. In the first canto, Rishabdev's son is the son of Meru Devi, and in the second canto he is the son of Sudevi. The same Bhagavatam in 2 canto we have the name of the mother of the Rishabdev is different. And Prabhupada tried to reconcile that another wife of Nabi may be Sudevi. Prabhupada is writing in that purport in 2nd canto. And the other way to look at it is sometime Baldev Vidyabhushan says that there's a kalpa bheda, means a different day of Brahma. Sometimes some incarnation, they appear repeatedly in different days of the Brahma, so then the places are different and the persons are also different in that situation. So either kalpa bhed or the other thing. So I mean, this is also a question of discussion why in first canto the mother is Meru Devi and second canto the mother is Sudevi.
Gopi Barandan Prabhu translate the second verse, and then he says, the Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, and then in brackets, in parentheses, he puts Meru Devi. So, so it's like apparently the same for him.
Because he has to refer the first canto, second, third chapter, because there's Meru Devi, how can it be Sudevi? But in Sanskrit, the Sudevi, so Prabhupada is a comment in a purport we have just seen, that it may be another wife of Nabhi. Prabhupada is written like that there.
Yes, in the verse it says Sudevi. Nabela Sarishabhasa Sudevi. Yeah.
Say Meru Devi is the name, and she was looking very beautiful, so she is called Sudevi, is a beautiful. Sometimes like Yashoda, the other name of Yashoda is Devaki. In Purana, the name is Nand, says the wife of Nand is called Devaki. Therefore, she has friendship with the Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. And she is commonly called Yashoda. This is a quotation from another Puran. So, Yashoda's another name is Devaki also. Anyway, most of the questions I think in this chapter are more about the specific verse and the something, what is the theme in that verse or summary of that verse. I think this is okay. So tomorrow we have to do 17 verses of the next chapter. I think this is also something about Rishabdev disregarding the mystic powers, and then how he left his body in the South India and how the people imitated his behavior. I think that is the next chapter. But then I think this is a very interesting topic. Further you go, the adhbhut is speaking about Rahugan is also very philosophical subject matter will come, I think, by 14 chapter. So I think better you continue with your day and we will meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatru Bhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thore me kam thivyo.